All right, it's coming up now.
You're good.
Is it on? We're live.
Set the notification.
Yep. All right, guys. Welcome. John Cochran here, and today is System Saturday. Today's the day that I take you behind the scenes and I show you a system that I use inside of my business that I want you to rip off and duplicate straight from me. So I'm going to wait for some people to start piling onto the line right here for a second. And then we are going to get this thing cruising. So, guys, if you remember from the last System Saturday live show that we did last week, we talked all about the 11 different ways where you can find real estate deals. And what we did on that is I went through all of those 11 strategies that you can use to find real estate deals right into your own backyard, right into your own market, right here for the 2018 real estate market. And on that show, what we did was we went through and we very went in detail of the 2 to 3 strategies that you should be doing. Now, all of those 11 strategies will work. They will work in today's real estate market. Just understand that and know that. But the truth of it is that if you want to absolutely crush it, if you want to dominate 2018, if you want to find more deals right now than what you found last year, if you want to scale up your business, if you want to go out there and make more income, if you want to, quit your job, you've got to take 2 to 3 of those strategies that I gave you on that last show that we did, and you really got to zone in on those 2 or 3 things. So as I see, challenges, mistakes from real estate investors all throughout the entire country, one of the things that I really commonly see is they have the shiny object syndrome, right? So they'll go out there and they'll try direct mail and they'll do direct mail and they'll send out one piece of mail and then they won't get any leads from that. And then they'll move on to something like bandit signs. And then they'll move on to something, like relationships. And then they'll move on to something like whatever. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge that real estate investors have throughout the entire country. But guys, if you would all agree that if you go and you take 2 to 3 things and you really focus on those 2 to 3 things, you'll dominate, you will control, and you'll absolutely destroy. You will do everything that you want to do. You just got to focus on those 2 to 3 things. So on the last show, what I did was I showed everybody, the 2 to 3 different things that, and I taught you how you should be going out there and picking your 2 to 3 things. And then what I did was I gave you guys, because I'm going to hold you accountable to those 2 to 3 things. Okay, so I went out there and, I had everybody, fill out a form to go out there and put your 2 to 3 things. And I actually have the stats from that last show. And I want to show you guys, I want to take you guys inside and I want to show it to you guys on a bar graph, what everybody chose. Because remember, this System Saturday, they're now live. All of these are live. So I gave the show to you. So what do you think that we're going to talk about in episodes of System Saturday Live now is deal finding strategies that you want to do. That's what we're going to focus on, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take you, I want you guys to see the, I want you guys to actually see the results that, from the last show. Okay, so I want you guys to see the results from the last show. So if you take a look right here, right now, you will see that there's obviously 3 things that people are really wanting to do. Technically, there's 4, kind of 5, but then there's some things that people just were not interested in doing. So the very first thing was people were super interested in getting deals straight from relationships. Okay, they wanted to bring in deals from relationships. They might have some of those systems in place. They probably don't have all of those systems in place, but that was the number 1 strategy that everybody was choosing that they wanted to find deals with. Okay, the second one, which was right behind that, was direct mail. Okay, and we're going to talk not about direct mail today, but we're going to show you guys a lot of systems so that we can start finding deals into the correct areas, into the right zones. Okay. So first one was relationships right here. And then the second one was direct mail. Okay. People want to do direct mail, which are both great strategies. Okay. So the third thing that people wanted to do is they wanted to focus on probate. And if you remember from the last show, I kind of dissected probate, and I showed you that there's two different ways that you could be going out there and doing the probate system. Okay, so there's two different ways that you can do that, and I'm going to show you guys that on future episodes, so that you guys can see that. And then the fourth thing, if that people's wanting to do, was auctions, and auction.com was the strategies that they're looking to go out there and do. So that's what the results were from the last show that we did. So I'm not trying to go out there and sway you in any different direction, because keep in mind that, in order for you to go out there and crush it right into your own market, all of these strategies will work. All of these strategies will work. But the truth of it is that if you focus on the things that you're good at, the things that you will love to do, okay, you'll absolutely crush it. And that's what we're going to really, really focus hard on, inside of this show. Okay. So that's what the results were from the last show. So one last thing that I want to do before I get into the content for today is I want to go and I want to show you guys, for those that are just joining us right now, I want to show you guys how to get notified of these live shows. It's very, very easy. All you got to do is you just go onto the King of Systems Facebook page, which is facebook.com/King of Systems. And then what you got to do over there is you click on following. So you like the page, you click on following, you're going to see a notifications. You'll see a little pencil by the notifications right there. And then you'll just simply click that pencil, and then you want to scroll down to the live videos side. And then you want to go to do all live posts, click done. And now you're getting notified of all of the live posts that so as soon as we go live on this show, you will get notified right on your cell phone. You will get notified right on your computer. So that's exactly what you guys need to do in order to get notified of this show. So I went inside, and I what I want to do now is I want to really go and I want to show you guys how to build your solid foundation. Because, and if we're, building a house, you got to go out there and build a very, very solid foundation. It's got to sit on something great. And so does your business. Your business has to be, sitting on a very, very solid foundation. So what I want you to do is I want you guys to comment in right now. Every single person that's on the line, I want you guys to comment in right now. And I want you to comment in what your go-to exit strategy is for this 2018 real estate market. So there's three options, okay? You can wholesale, you can be a dominant wholesale, you can be prehabber, or you can be a rehabber, okay? One of those three things. So I want you to comment down below, and what is your go-to? Wholesale, which basically means that what you're going to do is you're going to, your niche, what you're going to really, really focus on in 2018 is finding great deals. In those 2 to 3 strategies, you're going to go out there and find great deals. You're going to put those deals under contract. And then what you're going to do is you're going to either assign those to other real estate investors, or you're going to close on those properties and do a double close and sell those outside of that. There's 2 different ways to do that, but that's the wholesale. You don't have to have a real estate license. You don't have to have, much money in order to be able to wholesale, but you do need to know how to do this right in the legal way. But that's the wholesale. So how many people in a wholesale? Put wholesale down into the comment box. And then the other strategy is prehabbing. If you're going to be a prehabber, this basically means that you're going to be going out there and you're going to be finding great properties at a deep discount. You're going to be putting light repairs into these things, maybe some cosmetic stuff, some carpet, some paint, maybe changing out some lights and whatnot. But you're not going to go out there and do full gut jobs on any of these jobs. You're not going to be going out and changing, you're not going to be going out there and changing, walls around into these properties and stuff like that. You're not going to be doing anything like that. Okay. But that's prehabbing, just kind of going in and carpet, paint, very, very quick cosmetic stuff. That's what you want to do if you're prehabbing. And then if you want to rehab, this basically means that you're going to be finding properties at a deep discount. And then what you're going to do with those properties is you're going to go in there and you're going to fix these things up completely. You're probably going to be putting $20, $30, $40 plus $1,000 in these deals. And you're going to be going out there and turning a piece of trash into a diamond. Okay, so you're going to be going out there and doing that. and you're going to be rehabbing these things. It's going to take you a little bit longer to make your profits, but your profits are going to be higher than if you were prehabbing, and then your profits obviously should be higher if you were than wholesaling. Okay, so which of those strategies do you guys want to do? Okay, comment in below. Do you want to wholesale, prehab, or are you going to be a rehabber? Because it all depends. Okay, it all depends. Or do you want to do all of them? Or do you want to do all of these strategies? Because I can tell you that, if you want to do all of them, that's fine. But I'll tell you that you've got to have some type of wholesale arm inside of your business, because every single rehabber that I know, they have cash flow problems. You think in theory it works out perfect to where if you're going to be a rehabber, you get 3-4 deals into the works. And then, in 3 to 4 months, you're going to be getting paychecks every single month. Well, it never works out like that. So, what do you want to do? Wholesale, prehab, or rehab? Or do you want to do a little bit of a combination of those three of those? So obviously, in order to, start finding deals. Now, from the last show, you guys should be very, very familiar with the 2 to 3 strategies that you guys want to do. Okay. Whether it's, direct mail, whether it's bandit signs, whether it's probate, all of those 11 strategies that I gave you. Well, we've got to go out there and find out where the deals are hiding at first, right? So your 2 to 3 strategies at this point, right? So which 2 to 3 strategies that you want to do inside of your business. But the truth of it is where do you look now? Where should you be looking? So if you're going to focus on relationships, and if you're going to focus on direct mail, and if you're going to focus on, probate, that's great. We can work on those systems, but where do we start looking at for these deals? Where are these deals actually hiding at? And that's what we're going to cover. That's exactly what we're going to cover. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what to do, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to give you the entire system. I'm going to show you what to do on where all of these deals are hiding at. I'm going to show you what, and then I'm going to show you how, right here into this show. So here's what you do. Okay, we've got to find the right location. We've got to find out where all of these deals are hiding at. Where's the location? Where in your area can you go out there and can you go out and find these great deals? Where can you go out there and find this stuff? Well, there's 3 things that you need to know. Okay, there's 3 things that you need to know in order to find out where you should be investing right into your own local market. The first thing that you need to know, and write this down, the first thing that you need to know is how many total homes sold over the past year within a 20-mile radius of where you want to invest. That's the first thing that you need to know. We need to do a little bit of data research in order to find out where the buyers are buying at first, right? Because that's where we're going to go at. We're going to start buying properties. We're going to start finding probate deals. We're going to start finding relationship deals. We're going to start finding all of these 11 different strategies in the areas where the buyers are actually actively buying the most properties at. So that's the first thing that you need to do. The first step is to how many homes sold over the last 12 months, okay, within a 20-mile radius of where you want to start buying properties at. That's the first thing that you need to know, okay? So you guys can go out there and find this right into the MLS. You guys can, if you guys want to go out there and buy data, you can do that as well. But the best way to find out how many homes sold right into your local area within a 20-mile radius over the past year, okay, is right there into your MLS. Or if you got access to public data, you need to get access to that very, very quickly in order to find that. So the second thing that you need to do is you need to, now that you know how many homes sold, let's say that, over the last 12 months, you've had 10,000 homes sold within the last 12 months. Now, the second piece of data is that you need to know is what was the average sold price of all of those 10,000 properties, right? So what was the average sold price? That is very, very key information because we need to establish what the average sales price is right into the area within a 20-mile radius of where you need to be investing in. So what is the average sold price of all of those properties that you got within that 20-mile radius? And again, I'm just, for example, it's 10,000 properties. What was the average sold price? What was the average bedrooms that people were buying? What was the average amount of bathrooms that people were buying, and then what was the average square foot of the properties that everybody was buying, okay? So the first step is you need to find out how many total properties sold over the last year within a 20-mile radius of where you're investing in. And then the second step is once you know that data, say there's 10,000 properties, what was the average sold price of all those 10,000 properties, okay? And then what was the average bedroom, bathroom, and then what was that average square foot within that 20-mile radius of all those properties that sold last year, okay? Now, the third piece of data that you need to know so that we can find out where all these buyers are buying at is of those total homes, now you need to break it down by zip code, right? So how many zip codes were in that 20-mile radius, okay? And then now you need to look at all those 20 zip codes and how many average properties were selling in every single one of those zip codes. So that's the three things that you got to do. How many homes sold over the last year within that 20-mile radius of where you want to invest? What was the average sold price, the average bedroom, the average bathroom, the average square foot within that 20-mile radius? And then now you need to separate that search and do another search of all the zip codes. Okay, you need to do another search of all of the zip codes that are in that 20-mile radius of where you're wanting to invest into. And then what you need to do is, now you need to break it down by zip code. Of those 10,000 properties that were sold, how many were sold in every single one of those zip codes? That's what we need to figure out. There's two different pieces of data, okay? And then basically, guys, all it is from there is it's math. It's just very, very simple math. And then what you do is you average all of the sold properties in every single one of those zip codes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep all of the zip codes that's selling a lot of properties, right? We're going to keep all of the zip codes that are selling all the properties. And then that's where the buyers are going to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to throw out all of the zip codes where the buyers are not buying at. So, for example, if we find out that a zip code has sold 1,000 properties over the last 12 months, okay, we're going to invest into that zone before we invest into another zip code or zone that there's 30 properties selling over the last year. See, because it all comes down to when you have a house for sale, what you want is you want your buyer's pool to be as big as possible. I don't want to buy a property into a zone or into an area where my buyer's list is going to be like this. See, I want to buy properties. I want to start targeting these ponds where everybody's at, where all these buyers are already buying at. That's what I want to do because I know for a fact that when I put a great deal under contract and it tells me exactly where I need to do those 11 strategies at now. So all I need to do is find out where, and then obviously it's very quick from there because when I find a deal into those areas, I know that buyers are buying there because that is the zone that we chose, okay? That's the zone that we chose. So what I'm going to do, I just told you what to do. Well, now I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. So before I show you how to do it, guys, was there any questions or are we all clear on, how to go out there and find where you should be investing right into your own local market? Because this is key. When, you're brand new to real estate and you hear location, 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 guys, that's true. It's true. Your location is one of the most important things that you'll ever do as a real estate investor. That is the most important part because if you find a great deal into a bad area, it's not a deal. It's not a deal. I'm not going to invest in that deal because my buyer's list is going to be so small and I'm not going to be able to exit onto that property. See, I want to start buying properties where I can exit on all of them very, very quickly because what we're going to start doing is we're going to find all these deals and we're going to be selling these. Our whole goal is to sell these things in 7 days or less in any real estate market. It doesn't matter. If the market's going up, if the market's going down, if you think the market's flat, it doesn't matter. If the market is declining, we're still going to be selling all of our properties in 7 days or less because of where we're buying these properties at. Very, very simple. It's very, very simple. So comment in. Let me know that you understand that whole concept because I'm going to show you I'm going to get in and I'm going to show you guys, very, very quickly how you can do this right into your own local market. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to take you to the internet right now, and I'm going to take you to the internet, and we're going to get to work. We're going to get to work, and we're going to go out and we're going to actually pull this. Okay. Okay. So what I'm in right now is I'm in my Buyers on Fire account. This is the software. This is the software that we use. This is the software that we developed that runs the behind the scenes of our real estate business. This is what manages all of our deals. This is what sells all of our deals. This is where we go for funding. This is absolutely everything. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here to the sweet spot locator. And then what I'm going to do is it's going to pull up right here. It's going to pull up a map, basically, and it's going to ask me, it's going to say, well, what area do you want to scan? So what we do personally, just so you guys know, internally as a business, what we do is we buy data for the entire United States, and we buy public data, okay? And then what we do is we put it into the sweet spot locator with our algorithms of everything that I told you of what to do to find your locations, okay? So what you do is you just put in your zones right here, and I'm just going to put in the vacation capital of the world, Dayton, Ohio, which I still believe is the vacation capital of the world to this day. So I'm going to put in Dayton, Ohio, and I'm just going to scan this area. Now, what I suggest that you do is if you look at this, it's going to pull up Dayton, Ohio. It's going to zone into that, and then it's going to put the miles of 10 miles by default. Now, it's going to tell you within a 10-mile radius of Dayton, Ohio, there's been a total of 11,432 properties sold over the last year. So then what you're going to do is I want you to adjust this dial. It makes a lot of sense to adjust this dial to 20 miles. You can go as high as 50. I suggest that you go 20 miles because that's what most people do. Most people, they zone in, they find their deals within a 20-mile radius of where they want to invest. So what it's going to do is it's going to expand this green line right here, and it's going to change this, and it's going to say within a 20-mile radius of Dayton, Ohio, there's been a total of 20,415 properties sold. Now, the reason that I like this is you guys can go out there and pull this right into the MLS. It's going to take you quite a while to do it, but you can pull this right into the MLS. The reason that I like to use the sweet spot locator inside of Buyers on Fire is because not only does it pull all MLS properties, but it also pulls all the properties that were sold that were not onto the MLS, which is quite a bit. So we need to get that in order to figure out what zones we're really, really needing to invest in. We don't want to miss out any properties, and that's why we use this, okay? So what we do is scroll that to 20, and it's showing right here that there's been 20,415 properties sold. So I'm going to click Get Full Report, and then it's going to show this full report right here, and it's just going to give me a brief synopsis. It's going to say, John, within a 20-mile radius of Dayton, Ohio, there was 20,415 properties sold. The average sold price was $132,872 exactly. These are exact numbers, okay? So my average sold price in my area within that 20-mile radius is $132,000, almost $133,000, okay? The average bedroom is a 3-bedroom. The average bathroom is a 1.5. And then the average square foot that people are buying is 1,622 square foot. Now, I don't want you to get confused on this and be like, okay, so John's telling me that I need to stick in zones. This is where everybody's buying at. This is the average, right? So I need to be buying properties that are only 3-bedroom, only 1.5 bath, only 1,600 square foot, because that's not true. We still buy 2-bedroom properties. We still buy 3-bedroom properties. We still buy 4- and 5-bedroom properties. We typically don't buy 1-bedroom properties. That's what we do, okay? And then it's not telling you, hey, you only can sell properties 1,600 square foot, okay? So that's not what it's telling you. It's just telling you that this is what the averages are. The averages are this, okay? So what I'm going to do now that I know that my numbers, right? I call those my sweet spot numbers. Now that I know my sweet spot numbers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this report, okay? So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to download this report. Now what I want to do is I want to share with you how to read this report because it's very, very important, Okay, it's very, very important of how you read this report, because this is what's going to basically tell you everything of what you should be doing, where you should be looking for all of your properties right into those zones. Okay, so now it gives me a PDF and it tells me, hey, here's my sweet spot numbers, which we already knew. And then it's going to break this down by zip code in the 3 different strategies that we want to do: wholesale, prehab, and rehab. There's only those 3 exit strategies. Okay. So what it does is if you guys notice, what it does is the average sold price is $132,000 in my zone, in my area, in that 20-mile radius search. So what it does is it pulls the average, the prehab. What are prehabs, right? What are prehab properties? Well, those are properties that look average, right? So what it's doing is it's saying, hey, John, here's all the zones, here's all the zip codes. Okay, so here's all the zip codes here that is selling a lot of units. There's a lot of these properties. There's a lot of buyers buying in these zones, and they're right around that average price. They're right around that average price. So, John, if you want to go out there and make these properties look average, right? If you want to make these properties look average, you should be prehabbing in these zones. See why that average is so important now? That average is so important because it tells you what to do. Now that I know that the average is $132,000 or whatever it is, well, now it tells me, hey, this is the zones. These are the zip codes where I need to be making all my properties look average, right? And then it goes down here and it says, hey, here's your rehab zones. Here's your rehab zones. Here's all the zip codes that are selling very, very well. Here's all the zip codes that are selling a lot of units. There's a lot of properties being sold right now. And if you look at the average sold price, they're well above the average, right? So my average is $132,000. Well, these are well above that. So it's selling a lot of units. There's a lot of buyers buying there, a lot of homes sold over the last 12 months, but the average sold price is quite above the average in my area of $132,000. So it only makes sense. It says, John, here's all the zip codes. Here's all the zones that are selling a lot of units. And you should be rehabbing all these properties because the buyers that are buying there, they want above average, right? So you want above average. So then it shows me my wholesale zones. Now, if you look at the average sold price right here, if you look at this, now this is quite below. This is quite below my average sold price. My average sold price was $132,000, but my average wholesale zone, all of these areas that are selling a lot of properties, right? They're selling a lot of properties in these zones, but they're quite below my average. They're quite below my average. So it doesn't make sense for me to go into a zone or into an area, into a zip code, buy a property, and it's selling a lot of units and go into these zones where I should be wholesaling off. But in reality, I can't make a property look above average. I cannot make a property in these zip codes look average because the stats show that I can't sell these properties. So for example, if my wholesale zone, if all of these properties are selling for $40,000 and $50,000, $60,000, that's so much below my average that I've got to wholesale all those properties out. I got to wholesale every single one of those out because I can't make a property in those zones average because the average price is below average. See, that's where investors go wrong. Investors go wrong because they go into zones and they do the wrong exit strategy. So for example, they'll go into the war zones or they'll go into below average zones and they'll want to rehab a property because it needs work. They'll go and rehab a property because that thing needs work. So they'll go into a below average zone and they'll make that property look above average. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You don't go into a below average zone and then make a property look above average. You don't do that. It just doesn't make sense. Okay? So, and then there's also the avoid zones. Now, the avoid zones are the areas where, hey, the average sold price, guys, they might be above average. They might be average. They might be below average. But if you look at how many buyers are actually buying there over the last year, if you look at that, guys, we shouldn't be buying properties in those areas because simply the buyers aren't flocking there. So, for example, if you look right here onto your screen, if you look, the 45301, Well, technically, you could sit here and argue with me and say, John, bro, dude, I found this property in this area, and it's a great deal, and it's in the zone of 45301, and it's a great deal. I'm going to tell you all about this deal, and I'm just going to look at you, and I'm going to say, no deal. It's not a deal. I'm not going to invest into a deal like that. And you're going to sit there and argue with me, and I'm going to just flat out tell you, I'm not going to be one of those two buyers that buy or that sells a property within that 12 months. I'm not going to be one of those two sellers that sells a property within that last 12 months. I'm not going to be that person, because remember, when I buy a piece of real estate, I want my buyer's pool to be huge. I don't want to compete. I don't want my buyer's pool. I don't want to be one of the two. I just don't want to buy in zones like that. So that's what it does here is it looks at all these zones, and then it will just show you, hey, I don't care what the average sold price is. It just simply isn't selling enough inventory to go out there and justify me to do a deal in those areas, because there's just not enough buyers actively buying. Okay. So not only what most people don't understand is that most people don't get that where you invest, it also tells you what to do, what exit strategy that you're going to be using. See, now that you know this, and see, that's why I asked you at the very, very beginning. And if you didn't do it, you need to comment in and you need to let me know, what is your strategy? Is it wholesale? Is it prehab? Or is it rehab? Because obviously that's what's key. Now, there's one other key bit of information that I want to share with you on this, because it's very, very important. Okay. So if you look at this, here's what I want you to know. Now that you know the zones where you should be investing in, wholesale, prehab, or rehab, here's what I want you to know. And it was definitely on that report, but here's what you need to know. In your wholesale zones that are selling a lot of units, that there's way below the average prices in those areas for all the properties, but it sells a lot of units, you can wholesale deals in those areas. You cannot prehab deals in those areas and make them look average, and you cannot go out there. I forbid you to go out there and rehab into a below average zone and make it look above average. So in a wholesale zone, write this down. You can wholesale, but you cannot prehab and you cannot rehab. You cannot do those strategies. And then the other thing is your prehab zone. These are where all of the average people are buying properties at. This is where everybody's flocking to. You can prehab properties in those areas, meaning you can fix up and do a very light rehab. You can make these properties look average. You don't go overspending on these properties. You simply make these things look average, right? You can prehab in those zones, obviously, and you can also wholesale in those zones, okay? So you can wholesale in a wholesale zone. You can also wholesale into a prehab zone. It's totally okay to do that. But you cannot rehab into a prehab zone. See, that's where investors go wrong, is they'll make, and this is where they lose money, is they'll go into an average area and they will put too much money into it, making it above average, but the buyer is just an average buyer. They can't afford an above average, they don't have above average jobs, so they cannot go out there and afford anything above average. They might want it, and your property might sell, but you put more money into that property than what it really, you needed to, which means that your profit was less. Your buyer stole that deal from you. Okay. And then the last zone is your rehab zone. Well, that's very, very simple. What can you do in those zones? Comment in. What can you do? What can you do into a rehab zone? Obviously, this is your above average area. So this is your above average area. Well, you can rehab your property. So these are the properties that you should be going out there and putting $30, $40, $50, $100,000 into repair into these things, not overdoing it still, but these are the properties that you should be doing that with. These are the properties that, you should be changing the layouts and making an open floor plan. These are the properties that, you should make sure that it's got a brand new roof on it and that it probably does have all new windows, because these buyers are different. These buyers buy off of emotion. These people have above average jobs. These people have more money. They have all that stuff. So they're going to buy off of emotions. If you go into a rehab zone and you make that property look average, I'm telling you, those buyers are simply going to be like, no, No, it's got laminate flooring in it. I wanted tile. I'm just not going to do that. They demand above average stuff. So you can wholesale as well into a rehab zone. So you can wholesale in any of those three zones, but you cannot do anything else. So in a wholesale zone, you can very simply wholesale. In a prehab zone, you can prehab and you can wholesale. Now, here's what you're going to establish. Here's what you're going to end up finding out. You're going to end up finding out that when you wholesale into a prehab zone, when you wholesale into an average area, your profits are going to rise on your wholesale fees or your wholesale profits, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, okay? You're going to notice that your wholesale profit's going to increase in your prehab area. Well, in your rehabbing area, you can rehab and you can wholesale, but you're also going to notice that you're going to start getting above average wholesale prices, above average wholesaling fees, profits in those rehabbing zones. So on last week's show, what I did was I shared with everybody, I said, hey, you know, the truth of it is that I've got a $60,000 rehab or a $60,000 wholesale profit going on right now that one of my apprentices brought me. Well, everybody's like, well, how in the world is that possible? Well, what zone do you think that it was? What zone do you think that I went into? What did I do that $60,000 profit into a wholesale zone, a prehab zone, or a rehab zone? There's your answer. I did that. I'm doing that deal in that rehab zone. See, it all depends. It all depends. So, see, this is why nailing your location is so important. This is why it is so important. So, I'm going to just ask you guys a question. I want you to comment below. How many of you guys would like free access into that software? Comment below. How many of you guys would like free access into the Buyers on Fire software that goes out there and runs your entire business and manages your deal pipeline, and it does all of that work for you? How many of you guys want access into that? Comment below. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Yolanda does. Who else does? Mary does. Who else? Chris? Greg? Brian wants free access. Who else does? Michael? Who? Anthony? Michael squared? Joellen. So here's all you got to do, guys. This is very, very simple. Right now what I'm doing is I'm going Justin. Cool. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to give free access to everybody, and I want you guys to try this. I want you guys to try this out right inside of your own business. So I'm giving a free trial away to everybody right here onto this line. I'm only going to do this today, okay? But all you got to do is go to buyersonfire.com. We're going to pin that right down into the comments right now. So all you got to do is go to buyersonfire.com, and then you will see that what it's going to do is I'm going to log into my account. I'm going to show you a little bit about this. But again, it's buyersonfire.com, and I'm going to show you what this is going to do. This is where you're going to be able to pull all of your sweet spots right into your own area throughout the entire country, no matter where you're at. We have data for 96% of the country. This is where you're going to be able to comp your properties out. This is where you're going to be able to build a buyer's list automatically. This is where you're going to be able to communicate with all of your buyers and with all of your sellers. You're going to be able to get direct mail out of this. You're going to be able to launch your properties to sell, so you don't even have to market your properties anymore. Okay, we market all of your properties for you. It happens by just filling out a form and clicking a button. And here's the most powerful part of this. Okay, you're going to be able to manage your deal pipeline in here. And when you have deals, you can go right here to the deal funding side, and we can fund your deals right for you. It's that easy. It's unlimited deal funding. Okay, unlimited deal funding. And I'll tell you, it works because I funded my own personal property by using that funding. We use it a lot. It works very, very well. So you want to go grab your free trial of Buyers on Fire at buyersonfire.com. You want to go out there and get that. It's very, 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 robust. It's very, very up to date with the market and what works in today's real estate market. Now, here's the last thing that I want you to do. Okay. Here's the last thing that I want you to do is, guys, what did you think of today's show? What did you think of today's show? Now, a lot of people are going to have to go out there and watch this again, and you're probably going to want to get the Buyers on Fire software so that you can pull your sweet spots with ease and just know it throughout the entire country. But what was your thoughts on today's System Saturday Live show? Because what we're going to do on to the next show is we're going to go out there and show you how to find deals for free from relationships, and it's going to be part number 1. Okay, so finding deals for free from relationships, part number 1. Now, we're going to have to do multiple parts on this. And the reason that we're doing this as a show is very, very simple. Okay, we're going to do this as a show because you guys chose your number 1 strategy as finding deals from relationships. And I'll tell you that this strategy is not for everybody, but I will also tell you, too, that it's one of those things to where when you nail this, this is our number 1 strategy. Guys, this has been our number 1 strategy since 2015 of how we bring in deals is directly from relationships. Nobody can figure out how in the world I'm going out there and finding all these deals when nobody can find inventory in this market. That ain't my issue. That's never been my issue, okay? Because I moved with the market. The market told me that, hey, John, you should start using relationships to do deals. So that's what we focus on. So that's what we're going to focus on in next week's System Saturday Live show is finding deals for free from relationships, part number 1. And then obviously part number 2 is going to follow that one. So guys, if you have any questions or comments, about the show today, put those into the comment box. I want to stay on for, a few minutes right here. And I want to be able to answer all of your guys' questions so that we're on to the same page right here so that, you can leave this System Saturday Live show, number 1, knowing that you got value, and number 2, with all of your questions answered. Okay, so if you got questions, put those into the box. And if you're watching this as a replay, put those questions into the box because we will go out there and we will respond to those and get you guys the answer that you're looking for. So, and keep in mind, there is about a 20-second delay in these things. So comments will start coming in. So there is about a 20-second delay on this as well. What'd they think of the show?
Good. Today's show was awesome. Learned so much from an investor. Back since you stopped on YouTube.
Stopped on YouTube. Yep.
This is what no one else is teaching.
And let me cover that because you know what? This is what not everybody else is teaching. It's almost like they give you enough to buy whatever, but the truth of it is they never really show you how, right? So they show you what possibly to do, but they never really show you how to do anything. And see, that's the challenge that I've got with everybody and why they don't do this. What else? What's another question coming in? Yep, we're going to break down probate. We're going to break down probate for sure. Probate is one of those strategies, guys, that there's going to be 2 different ways that I'm going to teach you how to do it, okay? And I'll tell you that these strategies work every single time. If you're wanting to wholesale a prehab or rehab, you could do that on all of them. We like to wholesale those deals out primarily because our profits are the fattest, okay? Is there funding in Nevada? And yes, all you guys got to do is go grab your free trial, and the funding is nationwide. So the funding is nationwide.
Does probate sum up all of the buyer?
So the question is does probate sum up all of the buyers on fire and probate is one of those strategies that I will show you how to do. It's a great strategy. I love the strategy. I personally think that a lot of investors do this strategy wrong. They're going out there and doing probate the wrong way. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do probate that you will love. You will absolutely love it. And it works every single time. You just got to do it. See, this is why it was so important that what we did on that last show was we put in concrete what are those 2 to 3 strategies that you're going to use. Guys, don't get, squirrel syndrome. Don't go out there and start, doing all these different strategies and just seeing what sticks. Guys, they'll all work. Yes, you guys happen to pick 4 of the best deal strategies that you can use into this market. We just got to show you how to do it. We got to show you how to do it. How can you get the combo seller generator software? It's actually in your free trial. So let me take you guys real quick and just show you into your free trial what you're actually getting. So when you go to buyersonfire.com and you start your 14-day free trial, it's honestly, it's the biggest no-brainer you'll ever receive. There's 3 different packages, okay? There's 3 different packages. There's a starter package, a professional package, and then a premium package. Now, obviously, this is a 14-day free trial, and I know the systems work, and I'm going to coach you all the way through this. So I'll just tell you, most people pick this professional plan, but you can look at all the different plans and see which one you do. Professional plans up to $500,000 in deal funding. It actually comes with the combo seller generator software and training course that I'm doing, and I'm just doing that today. Today's the last day that I'm going to do this to find sellers with 2, 3, 4+ levels of motivation. That does not come into the starter plan. You get what's called lead capture phone number so that you can start building a buyer's list or a seller's list automatically. I'm going to show you how to use that. Direct mail, advanced deal pipeline. It's some of the best into the business. Buying and selling deal analyzers, your own CEO dashboard, the sweet spot locator is also in that professional plan. iComps is in there as well. The property launch feature, which sells your property for you in 7 days or less. You just put in your properties and bam, there they go. And then the cool thing about this is also what I'm doing starting next week is a 4-week live Buyers on Fire coaching class to show you guys how to get the most out of all this stuff. Like there's just so many things in there. You know, how do you get the most out of this? How do you put your deal pipeline in there? How do you go out there and do all this? How do you set your business up to where it's running on automatic using that? All right. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you guys how to do. And so the coaching, the deal funding, the sweet spot locator, it has everything inside of it. So it's that's obviously what most people do, but that's that. What other questions are we getting? Finding rentals with little money. Very simple, guys. I just want to be blunt. I want to be straight with you. That's what we do on the show is blunt and straight. And the truth of it is that honestly, right now into where the real estate market is at, where prices are at and everything, you do not want to, and I repeat, you do not want to go out there and start buying rentals because the prices are at the top, guys. And I battle with people on this, but you want to buy your rental properties when the prices are below, right? When those prices start going down, that's when you want to start buying your rental properties, but you don't want to do that right now. Okay, it's just not the time right now. However, multifamily is different. Multifamily is different, but still, you want to wait till the market goes down for that. So, in my personal opinion, in my personal business, I don't even hardly own a rental property right now because I'm playing the market. When the market's at the top, that's when I'm selling. When the market's at the bottom, that's when I'm buying. Make sense? Anything else? Yeah, if they got Buyers on Fire, they can join the coaching calls for sure. Yeah, just contact support at buyersonfire.com. So, guys, comment in. Let me know what you thought of today's show. And again, on to the next show. What we're going to do is we're going to talk all about finding free deals from relationships, part number 1. The reason I love relationships so much is because, it's free. You're going to get the deals every single time. I just got to show you how to tap into this. So, guys, tune in to next week's System Saturday live show. And again, go change your settings right into your Facebook account right now. Go to the King of Systems page, click on following, and make sure that your notifications are set up to know when these shows go live because I love to give you guys the show, and I love to go out there and give you guys information that nobody else is given. This is the day of the week where I open up a part of my business that you can rip off, duplicate, use right into your own local market. John Cochran signing off. I'll see you guys on next week's Systems Saturday Live.